Welcome to the next episode of the Chiefs Chat. Today we have special guest Captain Todd Baton with us, and we're going to talk a little bit about social media. Captain Baton, so
Yes.
you're responsible for the social media within the Wausau Police Department. Why don't you tell us a little bit about the Wausau Police Department social media?
You bet. So we started our Facebook page, for example, back in 2013. So we've been involved with social media for a handful of years now, really making our bigger push with the Facebook page.
Right.
But we've branched out into having a YouTube channel, Twitter account, as well as an Instagram account as well.
Wow. Why do we have so many different types of social media?
Yeah, there's a lot of different social media platforms, and using those different platforms, a variety of platforms rather, allow us to connect with a greater variety of people in our community.
Sure, and certainly that connection is really important to us as a police department. How does social media help us connect with the community?
There's kind of the ways that we really would have expected. Initially, we have some information about a person that is wanted for some type of law violation, for example, and we're able to push out some of that information and get help really from the public in locating these people. Some of the other uses that we've discovered with our social media is it's really allowed us to be much more effective with our recruiting efforts for police officer positions.
Yeah, so I hear you talking about recruitment. I hear you talking about using social media to help us, kind of nab the law violators. But there's also a component of community connection and how we interact with our community, right?
Absolutely. We are really fortunate to live in a great community. Social media has allowed us to connect with a greater segment of our community than previously we've been able to, and really share a lot of information about the department. Let the public really know what their police department is all about, the type of people that are working here at the department, maybe some department practices. Maybe we can debunk some myths about police work or demystify at the very least about some of the things that we do.
Right. And so, Sir Robert Peel, who was kind of the godfather of law enforcement, of modern law enforcement, said, the public are the police and the police are the public, right? And so it's important for us to make sure that our community trusts us, that our community recognizes that we're here, we're a part of our community, and we have a vested interest in enhancing the quality of life for the people that live here. And so there's been some, over the years, some negative press towards law enforcement, and which has kind of hurt the trust level, the trust rating that the community gives law enforcement. And so one of the ways we can garner trust is through social media. We can show our human side, we can show our community that we are a character-based organization, and help our community know who it is that wears the badge.
Yeah, no, I think that's a really good point. And I think it is, it's possible for our department to garner that trust through face-to-face meetings with individuals.
Certainly.
But unfortunately, there's really only so many of us and so much time in the day, whereas the social media allows us to have those interactions multiple times a day across multiple venues or social media platforms in this case.
Yeah, for sure. And I think sometimes there's a little bit of I'm not sure what the right word is. Some folks in our community that think we should be out getting down to business all the time and not doing anything on social media, or maybe not doing some of the stuff that isn't directly law enforcement related on social media. And so can you talk about why that's important to us here?
Yeah, so since for example, I'll take our Facebook page for example. Since the inception of our Facebook page, we've been able to grow our followers to about a little over 17,000 individuals. So what that really means for us in terms of leveraging positive power for good is we have 17,000 potential individuals that can help us keep our community safer. And the way we get those individuals to want to follow the police department and learn more about us is to show a little bit of that human side as well, to connect with the community on a variety of different levels, whether it be, hey, people want to come here and learn about, again, the officers as individuals, what they're all about, some of the different work that we do here, maybe some of the specialty units. Some individuals might find that interesting, or whatever it might be that can bring people to our social media pages. If we can get them to come there, learn a little bit more about us, and connect with us, then we're able to have this kind of a greater force for good out in our community as a whole, which I really think embodies much more of what Sir Robert Peel was really envisioning when he made some of those statements years ago.
Right, no doubt. Why do we use social media? Because isn't mainstream media like the television and the newspaper and the radio, isn't that good enough?
That's a really good question, and I think that up until recent years, we have been sort of really relying on those traditional forms of media to tell our story. What social media allows us to do, in addition to that, which really is important for people to get news out, information that has a really strong public interest.
You bet.
But the social media allows us to maybe tell the whole story that traditional news media might not have the time or the space to tell, for that matter. We're able to push information out right away in a timely fashion, tell our part of the story as we understand it, and look for public feedback if the case warrants that.
Yeah, and I think what you just said is really critical, because sometimes we get interviewed by folks from the media about a certain story, and sometimes for whatever reason, either we didn't communicate the message well or they didn't hear the message the way it was intended. Things get misconstrued, and so there's information out in the mainstream media that looks like it came from us, but we can use social media to kind of tell that story as it actually occurred and kind of correct some of that. Can you talk about that a little bit?
Yeah, absolutely, and I think there's been multiple cases of that, or instances in which that's happened. And again, for a variety of reasons. It might be simple misunderstanding, it might be lack of time to really get that whole story out. And what our social media platforms allow us to do is to maybe tell the whole story. Or maybe in the wake of a story or of an incident or some news coverage, there's some lingering questions about what happened with that. And if we're able to lend a little bit of clarity to that, help the public understand why this happened in their neighborhood, is there a safety risk associated with that? Is there anything else that the public can do to help mitigate any further instances? I think that that's a really positive thing that we should really try to do. Sometimes
we put information out on our social media that isn't directly law enforcement related. It might just be kind of something funny. It might be a little video clip from a body cameras, kind of showing an officer falling down, or kind of caught in a funny situation or what have you. And it's of interest to the community, but again, it doesn't really help us focus in on catching criminals or deterring crime or speeding violations and that kind of thing. We do those things to try and build our followership, and that followership can be really important, not just to say, hey, look, we've got 17,000 followers, but so that when bad things happen in our community, or we need to get information out during a critical incident to the community, or to try and apprehend criminals and identify people, we can then use those followers to get our message out and reach a broader audience.
And I think the crux of that is the fact that, and the reality that there's not only 17,000 people in the community that care about being safe, but if we have 17,000, or if we have 117,000 people that are following us, we can use that kind of combined good to spread the word, particularly if it's a public safety message that we need to get out, or again, we're looking for somebody, or we want to reunite a lost family member with their loved ones, or something of that nature. We're all in this community together. We want Wausau to be a great place to live, and this is a great way for us to do that together with our community.
Talk a little bit about the team of people that work with you on our social media.
Yeah, so we have some really good officers and staff that are involved with kind of steering the direction of our social media. We've tried to get a good group of officers from across all of our shifts, individuals that are willing to say, like, hey, yeah, I'd like to be involved with sort of crafting our message out to the public. And so that might include putting up just a photo of something that happened interesting on the shift, or it might include something a little bit more detailed. For example, one of our canine handlers, Officer Lopes Serraro, is really active, like on our Twitter, pretty much single-handedly handles our Twitter account, doing the virtual ride-alongs, so the public can really see what it's like, or get a little bit of a flavor of what it's like when he goes out to work with his canine partner each night.
Pretty sure the correct term is virtual tweet along.
Tweet along, sorry. Yes, a virtual tweet along. I think what we're finding is our job would be increasingly more difficult if we didn't have this means whereby we can communicate with the public.
Well, thanks for tuning in to this episode of the Chiefs Chat. Thank you, Captain Todd Baton,
hey, thanks
for your
for having
time
me.
and your expertise in talking about social media.
It was good to be here.
Well, until next time, be well. Welcome to the next episode of the Chiefs Chat. Today we're going to talk about our use of social media. Welcome to the next episode of the Chiefs Chat. Today we're going to talk about social media. Take 4. Oh, now it's recording. He's got all these toys in his office that he plays with. Like, hey Todd, do you ever get any work done?
Oh my gosh.
No, not really. I just like to play with my toys.
Well, welcome back to the Chiefs Chat. We're glad you could join us today. We're going to be talking about...
Pardon me, I still have some work to do on my phone. Welcome back to Patrol Captain's Chat. I'm Todd Baton. We're going to switch seats right now. See if anybody notices. And I just totally lost my... God dang it, where was I going with that?